Hello, this is Group C. We have chosen Nigeria as our target country for market entry. Our product is otak-otak, a delicious fish cake that's popular in Southeast Asia, which Nigeria's growing middle class and love for flavorful snacks. We believe otak-otak has strong potential in this vibrant market. Thank you. This is Group C. Our members is Nobaiti Khairunisa and me Iza and Lowling and Kosuyin. Nigeria, located in West Africa, is the most populous country in Africa with over 200 million people. Its history spans ancient civilization, colonialism, and the struggles of nations. Building post-independence, here's a key timeline of some key events in Nigeria history. For ancient and pre-colonial Nigeria, 1000 BCE and 1800 CE, Nigeria was home to several ancient civilizations, including the Nok culture, known for terracotta sculptures, the Kingdom of Ife, the Oyo Empire, and the Benin Kingdom, and the Hausa city-states in the north. Their societies developed advanced governance systems, arts, and trade networks. Colonial Nigeria 1861 British colonization begins with the annexation of Lagos and a British colony. 1885 Berlin Conference Europe powers divide Africa into colonies, formalizing British control over Nigeria. In 1914, the British merged the northern and southern to form the colony and of Nigeria. This marked of the beginning of modern Nigeria as a single entity under colonial rule. Independence and early post-colonial history. 1 October 1960, Nigeria gains independence from Britain, with Namdi becoming the first Governor General. The country adopts a parliamentary system. Once 1963, Nigeria becomes a republic. 1966, a military coup takes place, leading to assassination of Prime Minister Sir Abubakar. Major General Johnson becomes a head of state. This is followed by a counter coup. Civil war and political instability. 1967 until 1970, Nigerian Civil War, the was southern region of Nigeria led by Colonel declared independence as Biafra. 1975, the General Cowen is overthrown in a military coup, and 1976, General Muhammad is assassinated in an attempted coup. Transition to democracy 1979, Nigeria transitioned to civilian rule with the election of Shehu Shagari as a president. 1983, another military coup led to overthrow of Shagari. 1993, Nigeria experienced a coup d'etat and the annulment of the presidential election won by Moshood Abiola. This led to widespread protests and the eventual return to democracy. For return to democracy and recent history, 1999 Nigeria returns to democracy with the election of Segun Obasanjo as a president, and 2000 until 2010 Nigeria faced major challenges including corruption, political instability, and insurgency. And 2015 Muhammadu Buhari, who had previously overthrown the civil government in 1983, is elected president, and 2023 presidential election by Bola Ahmed. Nigerian history is marked by rich cultural heritage, colonial exploitation, military rule, civil conflict, and a gradual transition to democracy. Despite facing significant political, economic, and security challenges, the country continues to play a central role in both regional and global affairs.
I will present about the geography of Nigeria. Nigeria is a country located in West Africa. It is characterized by diverse geography, climate, and infrastructure. For the geography and location, it consists of area of 923,768 km square, making it the 32nd largest country in the world. Its latitude and longitude is between 4 and 14 for the latitude and 3 and 15 for the longitude. Its borders is Niger in the north, Chad and Cameroon in the east, Benin in the west, Gulf of Guinea, Atlantic Ocean in the south, and its population is over 220 million in 2024, make it the Africa's most populous country. For the topography, Nigeria's topography can be divided into the following zones, which is the coastal plains found in the southern part of the country consists of swamps and mangroves. The plateaus, Jos Plateau in central Nigeria with elevations up to 1,200 meters. For the highlands, located at eastern highlands, including the Adamawa and Mambila Plateau, plains, northern plains stretch across the Sahel region, and their major rivers are Niger and Benue rivers, forming the Y-shaped function as the key for agriculture and transportation. The climate conditions of Nigeria experiences tropical climates varying by region. In the south, it is tropical rainforest with high humidity. Heavy rainfall falls around from April to October every year and temperatures averaging 25 to 30 degrees C. In the central Guinea savanna with a wet and dry season with less rainfall than the south. In the north, semi-arid Sahelian region, hot temperatures exceeding 40 degrees C during dry months, which is from November to April, and sparse rainfall. For the rainfall patterns, Nigeria in the south is around 2,000 to 44,000 millimeter annually, and in the north it is 500 to 1,500 millimeter annually. There are five major cities in Nigeria, which is Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Ibadan. Lagos is Nigeria's largest city and economic hub, while Abuja is a capital city located centrally. Kano is the largest city in the north, function as commercial center. Port Harcourt is the major industrial and oil exporting city, while Ibadan known as historical and cultural hub. So these are the ports and airports exist in Nigeria. The major ports are Apapa Port, located in Lagos, which is the largest port. Port Harcourt Port, focused on oil exports. Tin Can Island Port, which is close to Lagos and handles container traffic. While major airports is known as Murtala Muhammad International Airport located in Lagos, Namdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano, and Port Harcourt International Airport. For the transportation network, Nigeria can be reached over roads, railways, waterways, and pipeline network. By the roads, Nigeria consists over 200,000 kilometers with expressways connecting Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Port Harcourt. By the railways, their major routes include Lagos Kano and Port Harcourt Maiduguri. By waterways, they have Niger rivers and Benue, which is vital for domestic transport. For the pipeline network, they have extensive system for oil and gas transportation. Now, let me show you the figure 1. The figure 1 shows the detailed geographical map of Nigeria consists of its topography, location of their major cities, rivers, and climate regions. Now, let's move on to the demographic of Nigeria. Nigeria is an Africa's most populous country which has a dynamic demographic profile. Its population as 2024 is estimated at approximately 2 to 3.8 million, making it the most populous country in Africa and the sixth globally. The annual growth rate is about 2.5%, driven by a high fertility rate of 5.25 births per woman. For the age distribution, Nigeria has a young population with a median age of 18.1 years. Around 43% of them are under 15 and only 3% are over 65. This indicates a high dependency ratio. For the gender composition of Nigerian people, the male to female ratio is roughly 1 to 1. Life expectancy remains relatively low at about 55 years. The population density is approximately 238 people per square kilometer. Urbanization has been increasing rapidly, with about 55% of the population living in urban areas. Lagos, the largest city, has a population exceeding 15 million. For the ethnic composition, Nigeria is ethnically diverse with over 250 ethnic groups. The largest are Hausa Fulani, consists of 30%, Yoruba 15.5%, Igbo 15.2%, and other groups including Tiv, Kanuri, Ibibio, and Ijau make up the rest. For the religious affiliation, the population is divided almost evenly between Islam, which is predominant in the north, while Christianity dominant in the south, and there are also smaller communities practicing indigenous belief. By looking at the demographics of Nigeria, we can say that these demographics highlight Nigeria's potential for economic growth and its significant challenges, including urbanization pressures and the need for infrastructure and social services. That's all from me. Let's continue with other group members. Thank you.
The political system of Nigeria is federal republic system with a structure of three-tier governance system comprising federal, state, and local governments. The powers are separated into legislative, the bicameral National Assembly, executive, which is headed by the president, and also judicial branches. The legal system in Nigeria is mixed legal system of English common law, Islamic law in some northern states, and also customary law. The major political parties in Nigeria includes All Progressive Congress (APC), which is a ruling party since 2015. They are center-right and focus on anti-corruption and economic development. The next one will be People's Democratic Party (PDP). They are centered left, which is a major opposition party and known for their tenure from 1999 to 2015. The third one is Labour Party (LP). The emerging influence appeals to youth and labor groups, particularly since the 2023 elections. And the fourth one will be New Nigeria People's Party and NPP. They are regionally strong, especially in the Kano state. The present government in Nigeria is led by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from APC. He was elected in 2023 and his administration focused on economic reforms, subsidy removal, and tackling insecurity. And the vice president is Kashim Shettima. The key challenges for the present government includes rising insecurity, including terrorism such as Boko Haram and ISWAP, and also banditry. The next challenge will be economic instability, exacerbated by inflation and foreign exchange issues. And the third challenge is the ethnic and regional tensions. The political risk in Nigeria includes insecurity, such as threats from terrorism, banditry, and ethnic militancy. The second one will be ethnic and religious conflicts, such as polarization between northern and southern regions. The third one is corruption, as corruption is deep rooted in public and private sectors. And the fourth political risk is policy instability. This is because there are frequent changes in economic and trade policies. While the economic risk in Nigeria includes dependence on oil, there are high vulnerability to global oil price fluctuations. And the second one is debt levels. There are rising public debt with a significant portion allocated to debt servicing. And the third one is inflation. There are persistent double digit inflation rates affecting the cost of living. And the fourth economic risk is unemployment. There are high unemployment rates in Nigeria, especially among the youth. Based on a spider map of political and economic risks in Nigeria, we can realize that the most significant risk in Nigeria is corruption, followed by oil dependence, unemployment, and insecurity. Nigeria operates a mixed legal system influenced by three primary sources. The first one is English common law, a legacy of British colonial rule forming the basis of Nigeria's legal system. And the second one is customary law. It varies across ethnic groups and governs personal matters such as marriage, inheritance, and land disputes. And the third one is Sharia law. This law is applied in northern states for issues involving personal status, marriage, and criminal laws among Muslim communities. Nigeria's judiciary comprises the following. The first one is Supreme Court. It is the apex court and final arbiter in legal disputes. The Court of Appeal handles appeals from lower courts. The federal high courts deal with federal matters such as company law, revenue, and intellectual property. The state high courts handle civil and criminal matters within states. Customary and Sharia courts address issues under customary and Sharia law respectively. And last but not least, the magistrate and district courts handle minor civil and criminal cases. Next is the key legislation for investors or marketers to be aware of in Nigeria. The first one is tax law. There are Companies Income Tax Act (CITA), which governs corporate taxation at a 30% rate. And the second one is Value Added Tax Act (VAT). 7.5% VAT is applicable on goods and services. And the third one is Personal Income Tax Act (PITA). It is a progressive tax rates on individuals up to 24%. In terms of company formation and ownership, there are Companies and Allied Matters Act (CAMA), established guidelines for company registration, operation, and ownership. Foreign investors can own up to 100% equity in Nigerian companies. And for repatriation of profits, there are Foreign Exchange, Monitoring, and Miscellaneous Provisions Act, which allows repatriation of dividends and profits through approved channels when provided tax are paid. While for the marketing laws, there are Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria (APCON), which regulates advertising standards to prevent misleading advertisements. And another one is Consumer Protection Act to protect the consumers from unfair trade practice. In terms of environmental legislation, there are National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency Act that oversees environmental compliance and enforcement. And for copyright and intellectual property protection, there are Copyright Act to protect creative works, patents, trademarks, and industrial designs. Nigeria is a member of the World Intellectual Property Organization. The Corruption Perception Index (CPI), published by Transparency International, ranks countries based on perceived corruption in the public sector on a scale of 0 highly corrupt to 100 very clean. The CPI score for Nigeria in 2023 is 24 out of 100, which it ranks 150 among 180 countries. And the CPI score for Malaysia in 2023 is 47 out of 100, which ranks 61 among 180 countries. Nigeria scores significantly lower than Malaysia, indicating higher perceived corruption levels. This implies greater challenges in navigating bureaucratic and regulatory hurdles in Nigeria compared to Malaysia.
Okay, so first, for the racial composition in the cultural environment of Nigeria, the major ethnic groups of Nigeria compose of Hausa group 30%, which fall prominently in the northern regions, and Yoruba group 15.5% located in the southwest. They embrace both Christian and Muslim tradition with value spicy, flavorful dishes. Igbo 15.2% concentrated in the southeast. They are largely Christian and prefer both indigenous flavors in meals. And lastly, minority groups, including the TIP, Kanuri, Izwa, and others. Which Okay, so this is the distribution pie chart for the ethnic groups in Nigeria.
Okay, so for the religious composition, they have Islam, which is 53.5%. Islamic dietary law halal play a very important role in consumer preference. Next, Christian, 35.3%. Prominent in the South, Christian may follow specific dietary practices during religious observances, and they generally do not have strict dietary laws. For Roman Catholicism, 10.6%, prominently in southern and southeastern Nigeria. They also have no strict dietary restrictions, and others, less than 1%, which emphasize natural and organic foods that align with traditional beliefs in Nigeria. Okay, so this is the distribution chart for religions in Nigeria. As we can see, the Islamic groups are composed of the largest groups in Nigeria. The third point is about major beliefs. So for the Nigerian, they prioritize family gatherings and communal meals. Traditional food often plays a very central role in celebrations and daily meals. Position otak-otak as a convenient, culturally respectful snacks for sharing during some events is very important. And next is they very prioritize on the rising awareness of healthy eating, Nigerians seeking for high protein, low fat foods. So Otata is very aligned with this trend. And the third one is pride in local cuisine. Nigerians are deeply attached to their traditional dishes and prefer the foods that reflect local flavors and textures. So can incorporate some local spices into Otata to create a variant tailored for appealing the Nigerian palates. So for cultural characteristics, first one is collectivism and community spirits. Nigerians value sharing experiences, especially through the food. So market otak-otak as a street food that can be shared among friends or family similar to puff puff. And next is flavor and spice enthusiasm. Nigerian's cuisine is known for its bold, spicy flavors. Therefore, develop a spicy version in otak to cater to local taste and promote its uniqueness compared to existing snacks. And visual appeal in the food is also very important because Nigerians they appreciate visually attractive meals and leverage otak-otak's banana leaf wrappings and grill marks as a unique selling points, emphasizing its traditional preparation. So the next one is about major business customs and the look importance of personal relationships for Nigerians, such as they value personal relationships and trust in business dealings. Before discussing transactions, it's customary to establish rapport and build a sense of mutual respect between each other, such as spending time to building relationships with the local distributors, vendors, and retailers. And for example, during initial biddings, expect conservations to include the inquiries about your background and personal interests before you dive into business discussion. For selling the otak, spending time connecting with distributor, local retailers, and influencers will also. Okay, so for the negotiation styles, Nigerians are known as skilled negotiators, and price discussion often involve back and forth bargaining. So be prepared for prolonged negotiations and present a clear-cut justification for pricing. For example, when pitching for otak to a wholesaler, expect counter-offers on pricing and supply terms, demonstrating flexibility and willingness to compromise to build the goodwill. Okay, so hierarchical respect is also very important because the respect for authority and seniority is known as paramount in Nigerian business settings. Decision making typically involves high ranking individuals. For example, when negotiating with a large retail chain, address senior managers formally use their titles and involve them in the critical discussions about pricing and distribution of otak is very important. An emphasis on packaging and branding, such as visually appealing, hygienically packaged, easily to recognize, high quality packaging, and highlight the health benefits on the label is very important. So next one is I want to make a brief summary of choosing Nigeria. Okay, so here's a brief summary for why choosing Nigeria to selling for Delta. So Nigeria can be known as Africa's most populous nation and one of the most largest economies in the regions, presents significant opportunities for market entry due to its cultural diversity, growing economy, and evolving consumer market. And the chosen product is otak-otak. It's a fish-based delicacy aligned with Nigeria's love for spicy, flavorful, and protein-rich food, making it very suitable for local adaptation and acceptance. With a young population, diverse ethnic and religious compositions such as Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, and religions such as Islam and Christian, and a history of economic growth driven by Oindra has a vibrant consumer base, and the key cities like Lagos and Abuja also serve as economic hubs with developing infrastructure, while its tropical climate supports year-round marketing opportunities. So, the Nigeria country's increasing demand for innovative food products makes it the ideal place for market entry for otak-otak, especially with culturally tailored and halal compliant strategies. That's all from our group. Thank you. With a young population, diverse ethnic and religious compositions such as Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, and religions such as Islam and Christian, and a history of economic growth driven by Oindra has a vibrant consumer base, and the key cities like Lagos and Abuja also serve as economic hubs with developing infrastructure, while its tropical climate supports year-round marketing opportunities. So, the Nigeria country's increasing demand for innovative food products makes it the ideal place for market entry for otak-otak, especially with culturally tailored and halal compliant strategies. That's all from our group. Thank you.
Hello and assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Karina Binti Roslan and my metric number is 210024. So for my part, I'll be presenting the Nigeria's key economic data and standard of living indicators. So let's dive into an overview of Nigeria's economic position, household income distribution, and quality of life indicators. Let's look at the first one. The Nigeria's economy, measured by GDP at PPP, is valued at $580 billion. As The country's GNI and GNP, both at PPP, stand at 620 billion, reflecting the total income earned by Nigerians domestically and abroad. These figures position Nigeria as for Africa's largest economy by GDP. And the first picture, we can see that the agriculture is the top contributing sectors to Nigeria GDP in H1 2024, and the second picture is the JNI for Nigeria's, and then the per capita metrics on a per capita basis. Nigeria's GDP per capita is 5,854 $1,000, while both GNI and GNP per capita are $6,200, indicating moderate economic development compared to regional peers. And next, the average household income in Nigeria is around 3,000 annually, with a clear divide between urban and rural areas. The GINI coefficient is 35.1, which indicates moderate income inequality. Urban centers like Lagos enjoy better economic opportunities, while rural areas face limited access to resources. And the services sector contributes 58% to Nigeria's GDP, fueled by telecommunications and financial services. For agriculture, although a critical employer accounts for 24%, and the industry sector, dominated by oil and gas, contributes 80%. These figures highlight a service driven economy with significant room for diversification. Okay, now that we understand Nigeria's economic framework, let's explore the quality of life and living standards in the next slide. Okay, so now it's the question number 6, which is about the standard of living indicators. When it comes to essential services, electricity is available to 55% of households, although outages are common. And only 33% of households have access to pipe water, with urban areas far better served than rural regions. Just 22% of households have flush toilets, pointing to widespread sanitation challenges. And next is about the healthcare resources. In healthcare, there are only zero point 0.4 doctors per 1,000 people and zero point 0.5 hospital beds per 1,000 people, highlighting a healthcare system under strain. Life expectancy is 55 years, influenced by high maternal and child mortality rates. Okay, so on the education and technology front, the adult literacy rate stands at 62% with disparities between men and women. Internet penetration is 36%, showing growth in urban areas but limited access in rural regions. So, urban regions like Lagos and Abuja benefit from better infrastructure and service access. So, in contrast, rural areas lag behind significantly, especially in access to clean water, electricity, and healthcare. So, to summarize my part, Nigeria's economy shows strong potential driven by its growing service sector and large population. However, challenges like income inequality, inadequate infrastructure, and healthcare gaps remain significant. This insight will guide us in crafting effective marketing strategies for this dynamic country. Thank you.